News 8.
CPA Garrett Wagner is back with us this morning. Garrett, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Mark, good to see you too.
Getting toward the end of the year, people, starting to get the heavier coats out, as we were talking about before we started here. This is a time, if people haven't started to, they need to begin to think about their tax prep, right?
Exactly. You know, tax season was like an infinite amount of time ago, and we forget the shock that comes with our tax return. Especially the new tax law last year, a lot of things changed. So before you get hit with another surprise come March and April, it's time to be proactive, think about what's going to come and how do you get planned for that future.
All right, you say be proactive. How can we be proactive?
So the biggest change with the new tax law last year was they changed the withholding tables. So a lot of people, that meant they got more in every paycheck on a consistent basis. When it came to file their return, they actually owed more than in the past. So their net tax went down. It just changed how it got paid. And that was a big surprise to a lot of people.
Okay, and we've talked about that in this segment. A lot of people, as you said, got caught up in that. So what steps can people take now that can make a difference come next spring?
The easiest step is, because it can be so confusing, like we just talked about before this, contact your tax advisor and simply say, hey, last year, did I get a refund? Did I owe? And what do I want my target to be this year? And then you ask your tax advisor, how do I need to change my withholdings? Try and avoid all those complicated calculations. Don't go online. Call your tax advisor. They'll get you the simple, direct answer right away.
Right. I mean, at the heart of this is what your tax rate is, but try not to focus on that so much as what you're having taken out of your paycheck, right?
Yes, and what you want that final picture to be. You know, some people like to get a big refund. Some people like to pay a little bit. Some people like to be zero. Your tax rate is kind of separate from that. What do you want that end target to be? The
earlier you make that adjustment, the more time you have to kind of get that number where you want it. I mean, you can wait all the way to the end of the year, right? But at that point, you've got to make a big change at that point.
Exactly. You know, if you want to make a $3,000 change and you've got one paycheck left, that might take away all your paycheck, or there might not be enough there.
Yeah.
So yeah, plan ahead to smooth out that bump for you.
Okay, let's turn our attention to charitable deductions. That's another thing that people tend to do toward the end of the year. You can do it now as well, right?
Yeah, and that's something else that changed in the new tax law. You know, they raised the threshold for itemized deductions. So a lot of people no longer itemize on the federal return. So if you did it for a tax benefit, you might not get it. So what we recommend is really think about, how do you batch a big chunk of charitable donations in one year? So maybe every other year you make a large batch of charitable donations.
Okay, and here in New York, though, we may still choose to itemize.
Correct.
And so you want to keep track of that.
Yes, New York has separated themselves from the IRS. So New York still allows the lower threshold for itemized deductions. So you can still get a benefit in New York State, even if you don't only get one with the IRS.
All right, Garrett, thank you. Our time is short. We'll leave it there. As always, we appreciate your advice. Hey, and the fine point on it is, if you're not sure about any of this, as Garrett said, consult your tax advisor, your CPA, and let them help you through it. If you missed any of our conversation, we're sharing it online as well at rochesterfirst.com.